welcome Notre Dame fans to the Tom and Tom Show. I'm Tom.
And I'm Tom.
And we're here to talk about one thing and one thing only.
Notre Dame football.
Well, Tom, the Irish shook off kind of a shaky start last week, including George Atkinson running into a teammate on a kickoff return, a false start, a timeout before their first snap. Nevertheless, the Irish upset, well, some people call it an upset, but you and I knew all along that the Irish were going to win. Number 10 Michigan State on the road, 20-3. Notre Dame off to their best start since 2002. Your thoughts on the game, Tom?
Wow. I mean, this is the signature win of the Kelly era at Notre Dame. I think that we all expected Notre Dame's defense to be physical. What I don't think we expected was dominance, and that's what Notre Dame's defense exerted. Michigan State didn't effectively run the ball. Levon Bell, their running back, who had put up some very productive numbers against Boise State in week 1 of the season, was essentially a non-factor. Andrew Maxwell, their junior quarterback, who's in his first year of starting, was ineffective at being able to pass, and they were rushing the quarterback. They were exerting pressure, and Notre Dame's defense looked at times like an elite defense across the country. Time will tell. The season will progress, and we'll be able to figure that out. But, wow, what a great Notre Dame win.
I know, didn't they look great?
What a beautiful thing.
You know, the quarterback Golston kind of had workman-like numbers, 14-32 for 178 yards and a touchdown, also running in for a touchdown. Your thoughts on Golston and his performance, but not only that, his progress and what he needs to do to improve.
You know, he's doing so well at maintaining his composure. I know that's kind of one of those cliche comments about a young quarterback, but like you said, they started off the game with a penalty and a timeout before the first snap. But all that being said, he came out, he made effective passes. He had a wonderful 30-some-yard touchdown pass to John Goodman, a pass that he rolled out to his right, threw back across the field into the end zone. Great catch by John Goodman, by the way. But he just looked at times to be a very mature, very reasoned quarterback that clearly he's not, because this is his third start in his career. What he needs to continue to do is maintain poise. He needs to continue to keep his eyes downfield and not lock in on just one or two receivers. What I like to see, and I know this is going to sound odd, is Tyler Eifert, our number 1 receiver, had no catches. Why did I like to see that? Because we're distributing the ball. There's 8 Notre Dame receivers so far this season that have receptions of 20 yards or more. That says that Everett Golston's doing an effective job at spreading the ball around, and he's not locking on one target too much, like what Tommy Rees did with Michael Floyd last year, and that resulted in a number of interceptions.
This is the first time Notre Dame has knocked off a top 10 team since 2005. Defense looked pretty damn stingy, giving up 237 yards of total offense. Your thoughts on the defense?
Let me throw out just 2 little neat stats that I love that tell the story about the defense. Michigan State did not enter the red zone once all game. And in the second half, they didn't move the ball over the 50-yard line. I mean, wow, what a dominant performance. You had some really young defensive ends making plays. Sheldon Day looked absolutely wonderful. Stephen Tuitt, once again, had a great game. Just great work. They're athletic, they're fast, they're big. They look in many ways like a front seven from the SEC. I don't want to get overly excited because time will tell as far as they progress and see some different teams and schemes, but they looked good. They looked as good as maybe anyone in the country that night. Wow. And I think they're the real key to Notre Dame's success so far this season. I think that's without a doubt.
You've talked about Golston as a quarterback kind of spreading the ball out a little bit more. How about the other components of the offense, maybe the offensive line and the running backs? How do you think they fared?
First and foremost, it was exciting to see Sierra Wood back on the field. He was suspended for the first 2 games of the season. He's back against Michigan State. And while Notre Dame did have a difficult time running the ball early on against a very stingy Michigan State defense, Sierra Wood was able to make some effective moves, able to run the ball, eat up the clock, and eat up yardage late in the fourth quarter, right when Notre Dame needed a long, productive run to shut Michigan State down. He was able to do that. I think he looked really good, and it's exciting to have him back. But let's remember that he's only effective when you've got a good offensive line. And Notre Dame's offensive line, after stumbling a little bit against Purdue last week, looked very, very good against Michigan State.
How about injuries?
Gosh, we had a really tough one. We really did. You know, this is kind of lost in the excitement of a great, great win. But Slaughter, one of our best cornerbacks. A fifth-year senior is out with a torn Achilles. We'll lose him for the season. And the secondary is already short, already depleted. So now you're going to have a number of young players, many of whom are converted wide receivers coming into the secondary. But Notre Dame's got the 30th best secondary in the country, which out of 120 FBS teams sounds very good. They're going to be tested against Michigan, but they're playing well right now, and they're playing beyond themselves given their lack of experience.
It's time for you to suit up then.
We might need to.
It's kind of an inspirational game in many ways, but it was a special game for Notre Dame linebacker Manti Te'o. 12 tackles, 1 for a loss, broke up 2 pass plays, and this all just playing a few days after the death of his girlfriend and his grandmother. Your thoughts on that?
Manti Te'o is what a student athlete is. He embodies Notre Dame football and college football in general. To be able to come after a personal loss and play so well, he recovered his second interception in his career as well against Michigan State. Just a class act. I particularly found his interview after the game with ABC to be important. He thanked his teammates, he thanked his family, his girlfriend's family, he thanked Notre Dame fans, but you know what? He also thanked Michigan State fans. And to be outside himself after a big win like this and thank the opposing team's fans, I think really speaks volumes of his character.
Okay, let's turn our attention to tomorrow. Big game with Michigan. Denard Robinson, the all-and-everything quarterback. The Irish will win if...
The Irish will win if they can exert their force on the lines. So if their defensive line can play like they did against Michigan State, they can pressure the quarterback, they can force him into situations where he has to either pass on the run or make quick decisions. If they give him an opportunity to run in the open field or sit back in the pocket, it's going to be a long day for Notre Dame. So if they can be physical up front, if they can be fast up front, Notre Dame's defensive line could be a key to victory. Also, on the other line, the offensive line, they need to be able to provide protection for Everett Golson. He has to have time to pass, to look downfield, to hit some open receivers. He also needs an opportunity to dish the ball off. Notre Dame's run game isn't where it needs to be. It's been tough ever since the Navy game. Purdue was a step backwards for the running game. It was a step backwards, I'd say, a little bit for the offensive line. So if the O-line can provide protection and open some holes for the running game, I think Notre Dame could balance out their offense, and it could be a long day for Michigan.
Prior to taping on the show, we were talking, and you said you might actually think this is going to be a tougher game than last week. Why?
I do. I just think if you've got a front seven like Notre Dame's defensive line that can be athletic and quick and put pressure on the quarterback, the only way you as an offense can mitigate defense like that is if you have a quarterback that can roll out of the pocket and either run or throw, and that's exactly what Denard Robinson does. He is the exact type of quarterback you want under center if you've got a very tough defensive front like Notre Dame. Now here's the key, though, is Denard Robinson didn't play well against a very good defense of Alabama in week 1. So if you have a replay of that, if he reacts similarly to Notre Dame's defense, Michigan is not going to look good, and it's going to be a long night for Michigan at Notre Dame Stadium.
Well, fans, that's all the time we have right now. Tune in next time for the Tom and Tom Show. I'm Tom.
And I'm Tom.
And this is
Notre Dame Football.